Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Today I'm going to spill the beans on a secret that a lot of professionals and top level anglers have been using to give them an advantage over the competition. This is something you don't hear talked about much at all, but I assure you that there are a lot of anglers that are using this to their advantage. So we're going to get into it. I think you'll see very quickly why that this is something that will work great for you. But before I get into that, I want to remind you guys that if you want a little bit more one-on-one direct contact with me, want to ask me some questions, want to go over your lakes that you fish in your area, check out the one-on-one virtual lessons that I do through fishthemoment.com. The link is in my video description for this. You can also find all the lake breakdowns that I do where we provide 40 waypoints for you on your local lakes, so you can check that out. Put the link in the description. And last, if you want to support the channel, please use my Tackle Warehouse affiliate link to make your tackle purchases. That's very much appreciated as well. And hopefully it's tips like this that keep you coming back to this channel because, well, this one's going to catch you a lot of fish. All right, so let's talk about a somewhat controversial topic. We're going to talk a little bit about the forward-facing sonars, your LiveScope, your Active Target. We're going to talk about how one of the most popular trends that we've seen come out of that is the resurgence of a jerkbait being a year-round bait. Guys are loving the jerkbait to get those fish that they're seeing on their screens to react. It's a great bait for that. It's no longer just a cold water bait. There were a lot of people out there that loved jerkbaits year round, but there are a lot more people now with forward-facing sonar that are absolutely destroying them with jerkbaits year round. It doesn't matter. But one of the issues that we're seeing with that is that jerkbaits run, I would say for the most part, in 10 foot of water or less. Therefore, the drawing power of the jerkbait gets smaller and smaller as you get fish that are deeper and deeper on your graphs. So to counter that, what a lot of people are doing is they're switching up their jerkbaits to an old school bait that is seeing a resurgence because of it. You know, this is one right here. This is the Rapala or Rapala, however you like to say it, countdown minnow, guys. All this is a sinking jerkbait. Comes in lots of different sizes, lots of different colors. These are two smaller ones, which I actually really like because it seems to match the hatch better, especially this time of year. You know, instead of throwing a big 4.5 inch jerkbait, this is a 2.5 incher. And the key here is these baits are specifically balanced to sink at a slow rate so that you can count them down, hence the name Rapala Countdown. They sink at roughly a foot per second. So, you know, because of that, what a lot of people had been doing was trying to weight their own baits. You know, they're pouring lead into baits to get them to sink. They're trying to add weight, you know, whether it's suspend strips or increase treble hook sizes. All of that works, but the thing is, none of that is perfect. It becomes really hard to balance your baits right, whereas Rapala has already done it for us. They've already had these baits. These baits have been around for years and years and years. Honestly, it's one of the first baits that I ever threw as a child when my dad used to take us smallmouth fishing in small streams. This was the bait that we would throw because it seemed to work better in the faster current, meaning it would keep your bait down. We could keep it in the strike zone. But the key here is with this bait, not only does it sink, which allows you to get the bait down to some of those fish that you're seeing on your forward-facing sonar, it's also got a lot of lead poured in the center of it, which makes it a more dense bait, and therefore it's showing up on your forward-facing sonar better than a lot of traditional jerk baits. So now, not only do you have a bait that you can see on your screen better than a lot of other jerk baits, you have a bait that you can get down 15, 20 feet, down to where some of those fish are that you're fishing. You don't have to try to entice them to come up 15 or 20 feet to eat your bait. Now you can get a bait down there. And again, you can get this bait in a 4.5 inch size. You can get it in a whole bunch of different size countdown minnows. But you also now have the ability, like in this case with a 2.5 incher, you have the ability to throw this thing a 1/4 mile because it weighs quite a bit. And you have the ability to match the hatch with a small jerkbait and get those small jerkbaits down to that level where the fish was at. It's one thing to get, say, a +1 size jerkbait down 10 feet. That's great, but that's also a bigger bait. Now you can get a smaller jerkbait down to that level, because there are very, very few, if any, small 2.5-inch size jerkbaits that you can jerk down to that level. So in this case, the Rapala Countdown Minnow is one that I would highly suggest you use, because this is something that we're seeing a ton of success with at the professional level. Some of the top, absolute top gurus of the forward-facing sonar have been doing this trick for quite some time, and they're keeping it very much under the collar. So I would highly recommend. It's worth giving a try. Not to mention, you know, at the very least, it's still a very good bait. This is something that I'll use when I'm fishing smallmouth that are, you know, in their wintering mode 25 feet down. So if it doesn't work for you forward facing wise, we still know that this is one of the most proven jerk baits out there. Like I said, it's been around for honestly maybe close to 100 years at this point. So check it out. I'll put the link for this in the video description, but give it a try. The Countdown minnows match up with forward-facing sonar better than pretty much every other jerkbait out there. Yes, you may not let it suspend for a long period of time in the same place without it still sinking, but what you can do is combat that sink raise by rising your rod up. So, and this is a tip, if you see people doing that where they're rising their rod up a little bit as they're fishing using their forward-facing sonar, they're probably throwing the Countdown minnow, because as you rise your rod, you can dramatically slow that rate. So if you jerk it down, you let it sink down to say 10 foot, which is where you want to fish it, you start snapping it around, maybe you get a fish that's looking at it, you can actually almost get it to suspend there by raising rod tip. Definitely a little tip with that. Anyways, give it a try, guys. Countdown minnow paired up with your forward-facing sonar equals success. And check it out. Like I said, link will be in the video description. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share it on your social media pages, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and stay tuned. We'll have a new video coming out tomorrow for you.